and Indy started already with the with the innuendos a little bit, haven't you, mate? So good evening, everybody, and welcome to a new and I guess revamped a little bit GPG. Hopefully you've seen the new intro and the new overlay we've got going on here, courtesy of the wonderful Sean Labrie. Please let us know how it's looking, everybody. This is the second time we've used OBS. It went okay last week, I think, but this time we're trying something a little bit different. We've got video going as well, so hopefully this is looking good. Please let us know in the chat how things are looking. So but thanks for everybody who's in the chat that's already joined us. Like I see, we've already got BMG, Mesuko, Tuku, Stubbs was in the chat there before as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. But to kick things off, let's introduce our lovely panel. And I'm going to start down the bottom, actually, because we do have our wonderful special guest for this evening, and that is our good friend, the Indie Gamer. How are you doing, Indie, mate?
Doing really good, thank you very much, my friend. Always a pleasure to be invited to hang out with what I consider, my favourite peeps of the community. So yeah, it's just awesome to be able to come on again and join you to chat some games. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's been too long, mate, I think, hasn't it? So
definitely, yeah,
it is great to have you on. For hopefully it won't be too long until you're next on as well. But I think we've got one thing in particular that you'll like. Somerville might come up a little bit later, but we'll
sounds
see.
Good. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then we've also got Luke Steele. Luke, how are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very well. I'm just kind of very impressed by this layout. It looks really good. So and it works, which is awesome.
Well,
so,
hopefully, no one in the chat said it hasn't. If you guys can see the video, hopefully it looks all right. But yeah, we
tip top. It looks amazing.
Lovely. Yeah, we got a new waiting screen, courtesy of Sean Labrie, and then a nice overlay. And then last week we did have OBS last week, but we didn't. Honestly, I just wanted to try and get out of the way before even thinking about video. But I think it's looking all right. Unfortunately, though, actually, before we come on to Pux, Indy, we don't have your lovely face, although we did get a face reveal from you back at EGX. So I'm sure it won't be too long until you're on camera, man.
One a year is all you get, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
That's the next EGX.
Yeah. Unless you subscribe to the exclusive indie OnlyFans, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I do like what you've done with my picture, though. That's a nice surprise. Thank you for putting the old picky on there. That's very nice.
That's fine, man. Not that anybody would need to see that. They'll recognize your voice, I'm sure, instantly. So, yeah.
Love it. Nice. Good stuff. It looks fantastic. Done a great job, buddy.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, we have Puxley. How are you doing, Pux?
Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you. Hope you're all doing well as well. Evening chat. And yeah, Indy, great to have you on. It feels like it's been a very long time since we've last spoken. So now I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be good fun.
Awesome.
Wonderful. So, I mean, this week hasn't been particularly big on the news front, unless you're a fan of the Wall Street Journal, I guess. A lot of news came out of that, but I think it's been fairly light on news. Obviously, just 2 weeks ago we had our mammoth 2-hour CMA special, and last week we kind of returned just chatting about the games. I think we'll do maybe something a little bit similar this week, and I'm actually going to throw it over to our special guest in Indy to start us off. So, Indy, what have you been playing recently, mate?
What have I been playing? Well, to be honest, a bit of darting around all over the place, working as always. But last thing I've been playing, let me just do a little quick refresh on my brain. Yeah, I've been playing Midnight Fight Express, actually, which is a game I was super looking forward to on the run-up to its release in August. And then when it came out, I was like so busy, it seemed, and it just didn't happen straight away. But now I finally got to it a couple of months later. And I'm absolutely loving it. Yeah, so it's really awesome. I played the demo on stream a while back, and it was an absolute blast. But yeah, playing through the full game now is like, it's exactly that. It's a really good way of describing it. It is a blast. It's like an adrenaline rush. You've got like takedowns and counters and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure Puxley would love it as a fan of martial arts. I believe as well. There's some motion captured martial arts in that game which are just so satisfying. The takedowns, all the techniques in it are some of them you'll see from like a Bruce Lee film that they've like basically incorporated. But yeah, the guys who did that motion capture are clearly excellent at what they do, and it's been brought into the game, and it just feels so good to play. Yeah, it's a really cool game. If you haven't checked out Midnight Fight Express already, jump on it. It is on Game Pass. So yeah, it's awesome. But other than that, I was playing some demos recently. Played Gun Jam demo, which is quite a cool little sort of rhythm game. There was a bunch of other stuff. Played Vampire Survivors as well. I know Luke's all over that bad boy recently. But yeah, it's out in 1.0 release now, which is pretty damn cool. Yeah, what else have I been playing? Thinking about it. Yeah, a bunch of demos really from on the back of the sort of Steam Next Fest and that side of things. But yeah, generally I've been most of my time is going into Midnight Fight Express. I've got through quite a good chunk of that, to be honest, and having a great time with that, really.
Very nice. What demos stood out from the Next Fest selection?
Yeah, I mean, Next Fest side of things, the ones that stood out the most for me were kind of like the Night Witch was definitely a big one. Gunbrella was definitely a big one. I was going back a little bit of time, but sometimes it's hard fitting it all in, of course. But yeah, those two were really big. And of course, Season, which I've already talked about quite a bit of, that was a big standout for me. And yeah, really excited for that game. When it's coming early 2023, super relaxing, wonderful game. But yeah, there's been what else have I played? I played a bit of Hades again, actually, to try it out on the on the Steam Deck, actually, which ran really well. I just wanted to find out, how good is this epic game going to feel on the old Steam Deck, and it feels absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I mean, just super smooth, just everything you'd hope basically that it would run like. And yeah, it's great to play on there, because there's games like I played Cult of the Lamb on there, and that really is fantastic on there as well. But I find some of the very small elements, like the text and stuff, is a bit small on it. It almost feels like you need it to be a little bit bigger in places on Cult of the Lamb. But in like Hades, it feels like it's fully optimized and works really well for it, if you see what I mean. But yeah, generally, Steam Deck's been great as well. So
didn't take long for you to drop the Steam
Deck. Yeah, I know.
In the chat,
Sorry,
so just had to remind us.
I apologise. Well, they're readily available now, so everyone can get their hands on that bad boy.
That is true. That is true. It's funny you mention the whole text thing. I think Cloud Gaming has like a similar issue where, because you're playing a game on a phone in most cases, the UI and the text is the thing that you often have the biggest challenge with. Because it's not designed initially to be on a phone. So, but I imagine Hades just looks and plays incredible.
Yeah, just something about Hades is just, it works really well on there. It doesn't really feel like it's too small of a text at any point. But yeah, that game just is incredible. It's just always a game to go back to. It's just a masterpiece. So yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And you mentioned Vampire Survivors. Luke, you mentioned that game last week, and I did actually end up checking it out, actually, because I know you mentioned at the time, you're like, you were saying like, oh, but why would you, or what is this? But it actually turns out to be a bloody incredible addictive game.
It's simplicity at its best, isn't it? Yeah.
Have you played any more this past week, Luke?
Yeah, I keep picking it up just every now and then, just to do a run or two runs. Like it's such a great game, obviously, as well. I mean, I'm exclusively playing it on the Steam Deck, so it means it's even more like pick up and play. Yeah, it's really just great, like it gets really difficult as well, which is cool. So I've not like progressed loads in it, but I've actually got quite a few hours of playtime, because nice. You're actually, by the time you're getting up to level 30 or so or near that, it becomes just absolute chaos on screen.
I was going to say, it's bedlam, isn't it?
Yeah. You're like super powerful, but equally you're never like too powerful in that game. Like you can always be like just overrun by enemies. And then the second stage is really weird, because it's like it's a kind of horizontal progression, whereas the first stage is like you can go in any direction basically.
I've not hit the second stage yet, so I didn't even realize there was other stages, to be perfectly honest.
There's like 5, 6, something like that. So I've only actually unlocked the second one, even though I've played for like 4 or 5 hours. But the second one puts you, I won't say where it is, but it puts you somewhere else, but you're blocked off on kind of the either end of the vertical. So you can only progress horizontally, which introduces its own set of challenges in that game, because obviously you kind of have to keep going. You can come back, but again, you can get like really easily overrun by enemies. So it's a bit of a pain in the arse, but it's really good. It's really, really good.
Very nice.
Yeah. Level 30, that's pretty good. That's
I think I've only got like 18 or something like that. I'm really enjoying my garlic build. Just souping up that garlic.
That's a good build.
That needs to be taken out of context and placed somewhere else.
It's a good build, that one.
Yeah, garlic and then magic. I didn't I unlocked a few more of the characters on it actually, and there's one where it fires like I don't really know what it is. It's like a beam that kind of deflects off things, and it kind of goes in a random direction, I think, because you kind of got the first one, that's the whip, the second one's like the magic, and then the third one's this weird one. I couldn't really vibe with that character. I enjoyed the magic one though, the second one I think it is.
I like I think he's called Gennaro or something like that, and he gets 2 projectiles for every weapon. So any projectile, he gets 2 of them. So like that's the one I got to level 30 with, or 29 I think. Because obviously if you get him and then you've got knives and like 4 other projectiles, you just, you're just spinning around shooting everything all the time. You can just literally run through like enemies, just like kind of boulder them out of the way. It's great. So yeah, I really like him.
Yeah, and the fire projectile in particular I like how at the end it gives like a DPS sort of rating. Yeah. The fire one's always like up there as being the one that's done the most damage for us. So.
It's funny about that game. It's always been early access for a while, hasn't it? I know you're jumping on it recently, but like it's been around for a bit, and it's funny how many games have already popped up which are the same game as that, basically.
Really?
Inspired by it already. Yeah, they're just like coming out already. It's been such a massive success.
Has it been in early access long?
Yeah, it has been quite a while. Yeah, I think it's definitely over a year at least. It's probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years even. I don't know. We'll have to ask Goat Force if he's around, or Meisuko might know because he watches Goat Force quite a lot, and I know he's been playing it for a long time.
Yeah,
but
the only issue I've got with it is for some reason it doesn't go properly full screen on my monitor.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And and then the other thing is I was going to record some footage for it for the show tonight, just so people could see like how batshit crazy that game is, because I think it's difficult to just explain. I think you kind of got to see it, but for some reason the video broadcast doesn't even recognize it as a game. So I was like, you don't have a game run. I was like, well, quite blatantly running a game here.
You just have to record it on desktop mode, basically. So, you're using the GeForce Experience, or
that's what I normally record it with.
But
I could use OBS, but I thought I'll just use something.
Yeah, you should just record it as a desktop. It'll come up as a desktop file, basically, instead of it coming under the name of the game. But,
yeah. Very
There we
nice.
go.
Luke, have you been playing anything else this past week?
Playing that, still playing Overwatch 2, doing quite a bit competitive in that at the moment. Good. And then picked up Bayonetta 3 yesterday.
I saw you had a decent haul yesterday by the Twitter account, mate.
Yeah, I had a good haul yesterday, and I wasn't expecting to find the collector's edition of Bayonetta 3 just on a shelf, because it'd been sold out like for ages, really. So I was like, ooh, I'll get that. So that was good. But yeah, so really, I've just been playing that over the weekend, which is, I mean, we'll talk about it probably, but it's awesome. It's really good. There's one criticism, but that's a broader one. So yeah.
Luke Stubbs is saying that maybe there's a little problem with audio, so maybe on your side. He says it's back now, so hopefully it's fine. Let us know how it goes, guys. Hopefully hopefully it's if it's back, it stays back. Oh yeah, it's final. Thank you very much, Stubbs. Yeah, we'll probably touch on Bayonetta a little bit more. I don't know how much we want to touch on the whole controversy around Bayonetta, but it might be worth discussing now that the full thing's kind of panned out. It was one that I think a lot of people kind of jumped on very quickly, and I think a few people maybe will regret their original thoughts or what they said on that one. So. Lovely. And then Pux, have you been playing much of this past week, mate? I know last week you were playing a little bit of Scorn. Did you manage to get that completed?
I have. I have finished Scorn. I'm interested. Have you guys finished Scorn by any chance?
I've not started yet, mate. No,
I haven't.
Because aesthetically, I really enjoyed the game, and I was drawn into it all the time and long enough that I wanted to continue. But then you get to a point when you kind of feel like you're near the end, and then there's like this weird kind of boss fight scenario which happens, and it's all a bit weird and batshit crazy, and how it all kind of comes together, and it kind of hits you out of nowhere. And then equally, again, you do like you finish that, and then you have like maybe a few more puzzles that you finish, and then there's like an in-game cutscene, and the game just kind of, dare I say, abruptly ends, and you don't really ever figure out what's going on. So it's one of those stories where it feels like it's left very much to the interpretation of the player to kind of think what kind of ending it is and what it all means. And I don't know, I enjoyed playing it until that point, and then I questioned it, and I was like, did I like this game? It was a really weird experience in that vein, because there's nothing else to do. Like it is definitely a one and done type game, so there's no real need to go back, and there's no like collectibles to find, or there's no secrets or things like that. It is quite a linear game in and amongst the kind of open rooms that you have for certain puzzles and whatever. But so now, if you are into that kind of game, I would encourage people to push themselves to the end. It's about 7 to 10 hours, depending on how quick or slow you are. But no, I really enjoyed that. But more recently, last couple of days actually, I've been jumping right into Signalis, which came to Game Pass.
I just realised I played that most. My brain is not working. Sorry, you carry on. Sorry.
No, it's quite all right. What did you think of it? Because I'm really enjoying it so far.
You carry on. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. You carry on. I'll come back to if you don't mind, just for a little bit of Signalis. Carry on, my friend.
Yeah, no, sure thing. So, and if anyone who hasn't played this yet out there, it's basically, it's described as a horror survival game, which it is, but don't let that put you off. It's nothing like Resident Evil 7 or Village or things like that, where it's, poop your pants scary or that kind of vibe, because it is a 3D game, but it's basically got this big pixel art filter over the front of it. So, and it's almost from like not quite a top-down perspective, but that kind of angle. It's kind of top-down a bit, but it plays like kind of a standard, I don't want to say a Resi game, but Resi-like, in that you go to different rooms, you figure out puzzles, you've got to manage inventory, put things in and out, and the save points of the TVs, all that kind of stuff. But
it's very classic survival horror.
Yeah.
Yes.
Old school. Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah, you can.
I'm really enjoying that stuff. That's the other main game I've been playing this week, actually. In and amongst, I think like Luke, who jumps out. I'm not playing Overwatch, but I jump in and out of things like Fortnite, for example. I'm back into that at the moment. So yeah, I'm jumping in and out of a bit of competitive shooting as well as some indie goodness. So interesting mix. An interesting mix this week.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's good. As Luke jumps into the Signalis yet, by the way, just that interest. I know he's excited for it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, cool. I did, but I only played like 10 minutes. Like I played the demo back when.
Yep. Okay.
So I already essentially played the first part.
Just wanted to taste it a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. So it's on my list of things to play, because it's really up my street, and
exactly.
The reaction to it has been actually really positive as well. So
yeah, I really enjoyed it actually. It's very atmospheric, and it's it's strange because I'm not really a massive horror guy, and it's quite unsettling sort of vibe you get. But I really like some of the things they do with it. The cutscenes are quite cool. I don't know if you found that, Puxley, where they're really sort of intriguing, and they're just done really in an unusual kind of way. It's got that Japanesey kind of vibe to it, if you know what I mean, where it's kind
I
of
think, I looked it up on the other day. I think it is described as an anime survival horror game.
Right,
so it's
okay.
definitely got that kind of look. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I'm really enjoying it. It's definitely got, it's easy to say it, but it has got that like old school Resident Evil vibe, if that's what you want to know what kind of game it is, for sure. Yeah. And with the shooting and stuff, I quite enjoy that with the got 360-degree sort of movement with your aiming and stuff, which is cool. Obviously, it's not the focus of the game. It's not a shoot 'em up game. It's very much survival horror. But yeah, really enjoying it. I played about an hour and a half, I think, or something like that. But yeah, it's use your ammo sparingly, that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And be a bit cautious. But yeah, there's some cool little puzzles and stuff. And you do have to do a bit of reading in it, of course, which that's part of it. It's got that old school feel again, which is cool. You sort of look for codes and stuff, for safes and things like that in different bits of text. But I'm really immersed into it. It's impressed me a lot so far, so I'm definitely going to be carrying on. It's living up to hopes and dreams so far, as they say.
Yeah, it's a game that kind of came out of, well, whether it came out of nowhere or not, maybe not the right way of saying it, but I kind of hadn't really heard of it until Pux. I think you mentioned in our chat earlier this week, you said, has anyone checked out Signalis? And I know it's maybe more yours and Luke's type of game, but I hadn't really even heard of the game, to be perfectly honest. Is it one that's been on people's radar for a while and I've just been living under the same rock as BMG for some time, or is it something? Has it been something that people have been excited for a while?
I think I first saw it. I can't remember where it was. It was one of the indie showcases earlier this year. It was part of like a show reel type thing. Right. When you saw like a 20-second snippet or something of it, and it was like, oh, that looks really cool.
It was on the Tribeca showcase, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's been on a few though. I think it's been on quite a few. Maybe you just had a little kip on every one of those, Scott, or something. On that moment, it just happened, or maybe you just got scared and you just sort of like closed your eyes.
Either that, or it was just the fatigue from like the horror games that have had this.
There has been a lot
kind of just glazed over it.
Fair to say, yeah. No, I think it's been quite a few, but like it depends. Sometimes if something really resonates with you, it'll stick in your mind. But maybe it's not your type of game, like you say, so it might not have stuck with you as much.
I wouldn't let the fact that it says that it's a horror game put you off because of the art style and because of the type of game it is. It's not a horror game. Like it has the vibe of a horror game, definitely, but it's not like a jump scare fest or things like that. It's just creepy. It's just like a weird atmosphere. But in a good, fun way. As fun as it can be, I guess, for a creepy, fun thing.
Are you quite far in on it, or have you just sort of started? Or
I don't want to say enough in case of spoilers. I've put maybe about 4 or 5 hours into it so far.
Cool.
And I'm at a point where, how do I describe this without spoiling it? You get to a point in the game where you have to kind of jump between 3 or 4 different levels a bit later on, like levels 4, 5, 6 or something like that. And there's different things you have to do in each one, and there's rooms which are pitch black, so you have to find a light and little things like that. So there's quite a lot going on. And as you say, when you read the in-game stuff, and there's actually a few in-game cutscenes as well, not real time or things like that, but there are a few story-based things which happen. And you kind of go, oh wow, okay, and you kind of start.
I was really impressed by those. Yeah, they were really well done. The ones I've seen so far, anyway. Where where you go down and it's like the first one where it's kind of the opening credits, I suppose you could say, like the Signalis comes up on the screen when you look on the computer. That is super cool. Cool. I'm signing up to this.
Have you done great. Again, this might don't be much of a spoiler. Have you done any first person segments yet?
Like when you go into the sort of elevator bit and you look around and stuff like that. Is that what you mean? Or is
yes and no, but there are a few. I don't know what it's like. Again, it's part of the story. It's like, I don't know whether it's like a flashback type thing, but you have these segments of the story where you're literally in first person walking around an environment.
Oh, okay. No, not that yet. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yeah. I did think it was going to play with the perspective quite a bit, though, because the way some of those early scenes where you, like I say, you're in the elevator and you have to sort of like look around. I'm thinking it's actually probably better played with maybe a mouse at those points, but although, good with control as well, obviously, but it's like when you're looking around the environment, it's almost like you're really like in the room, and then it pulls back and it changes the perspective quite a bit, which is quite unusual. So that's cool to hear. It's going to go a step further as well. I'll definitely look forward to that then.
So I was going to say, is it a third person game then, Pux? And then has
it's mainly it is a
third kind of top down, or
it's like a top down like view of the game, and you just
okay.
But there's a few rare segments where it pulls you into a first-person perspective.
Yeah,
But that's only for like a couple of minutes. It's not the main gameplay. It is mainly a top-down game.
Yeah, top-down, isn't it? Yeah, so but it does kind of sort of almost feel like you're pulled up from a third person sometimes, isn't it? Because you're quite looking down sort of at an angle toward the character, but like when you run
you're kind
backwards,
of like that way.
yeah, yeah, but yeah,
other than like top down.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like like Hotline Miami or something.
No, yeah.
Very nice. Have you been checking anything else out this past week, Pucks?
I have got Plague's Tale downloaded, but I haven't jumped on it yet. So I think that's the next thing. And actually, I saw Flap yesterday, and he's got Modern Warfare 2, so I played a bit of that yesterday, which was quite fun. I haven't bought it myself yet, but it's something I think I will jump on at some point.
You game share with Flap?
No, we don't do that.
Do you game share with anyone?
No.
Oh, you should do it then, mate. If
it's one of those features I know you've spoken about in the past, but I just forget about it. And I don't really have many other people to game share with, so
yeah,
I'm kind of just
I mean, if Flap doesn't game share with anybody, then you guys you definitely should. It saves you an absolute boatload of money. If he's bought that digitally, then you've got it effectively. So
yeah, but can I not? I can't play it when he plays it though, right? Isn't that
you can play it at the same time. Yeah, it's
oh really?
Yeah,
all right.
Of course, it's.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
save myself 70 quid.
Yeah, I think is it Steam? You can game share, but you just can't play the games at the same time. Or is it? I think Steam maybe you could do that. But yeah, you should definitely do. So the person I game share with, he has bought Modern Warfare 2, but I don't think I'm going to check it out, to be perfectly honest. I've heard some actual half decent things about the campaign, but I don't think I'm young enough these days for Call of Duty multiplayer, unfortunately. So, and plus, when you've got Halo and Overwatch to play, I think I'd much rather play them than a Call of Duty game anyway. So,
yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah. So, well, I've been playing. We've got the footage on the screen here. I've actually completed A Plague Tale Requiem. I completed that just earlier today, actually. I know, Pucks, you mentioned it's next on your list. Luke, I know you would made a start, but have you managed to play any more yourself, Luke?
No, I've paused on it because I'm gonna, when I finish the rig, I'm gonna jump back into
okay,
it. So,
yeah. Oh, so, actually, on that note. Is the rig built?
It's not. It's not yet. Hopefully, it should be tomorrow.
Does that mean tomorrow.
It's teasing us?
We're gonna see the beast?
No, unfortunately, it's elsewhere at the moment.
Okay.
Different.
I just know Indy's laughing because he's seeing a euphemism there. So
yeah, that was. I'm proud of you to pick that up there, Puxley.
I was on it. I
got it. This is how it rolls at the Greek Pass Gaming.
No, this is how it rolls when you're in the chat.
Yeah, sorry. When you're here, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so I've paused on it because I'm like I want to stop, but I've got like 4 hours in ish, so I was really enjoying it. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just stop, and then I'll pick it back up when it's built and up and running, hopefully tomorrow.
You waiting for any more bits, or is it just time to build it?
Yeah, I've got it all. Everything's here.
Cool.
It's partly together, so just gotta find some sort of time, but because it always takes a bit longer than you anticipate, I think, as well, which is annoying.
Have you started building it then, or is it like you can do it all in one hit kind of thing? Or how's it going to work with that?
Started, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
So I've got some bits in, motherboards in, processors in, radiators in as well. Need to put the graphics card in and do the case fans and the NVMe's, etc. But
put the stilts under the graphics card.
Put the
cinder blocks,
the block of iron, underneath it to make sure. Handily, it does come with a bracket actually, so it screws into your motherboard, so you can get like this 90-degree metal bracket to help support, because you would definitely need some support. But I am a bit apprehensive because. And I've decided to go for it, but I don't know if anybody's seen the reports of these. These 4090s
melting.
Well, Yeah, not the 4090s melting, but the adapter cable
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
NVIDIA
I've seen that.
supplying.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've not
So-
seen that.
Yeah, so there are some sporadic reports, mostly on Reddit, obviously, of the adapter cable setting on fire, basically, or burning.
Yeah.
And the cause is not like super well known. Like it could be a multitude of different factors, but I think the most common theory is that the soldering is quite poor and it's rubbing off in
Right.
the connectors, and then that's causing a lot of heat to kind of go from one connector in the adapter to another, and that causes burning.
Sure.
So it's not like destroying graphics cards or anything, but obviously it's ruining the adapter.
So I heard someone say it was the piece they give with the graphics card, the
That's right, yeah,
connector.
yeah.
They're not
It's
giving
the
a good
adapter,
enough. Yeah, exactly. They need to. Yeah, the other people were recommending getting a different one instead. Is that something you're looking at, or are you gonna risk
yeah,
it?
but no, I will, because so
Yeah.
I bought a Corsair power
Right, yeah.
supply, and they have done a cable which is kind of a truncated version of the adapter, which is set up for 600 watts through the cable, which is obviously a lot.
Nice.
But unfortunately, it's just already sold out. It's like 20 quid just for this cable, but you just
Right.
can't get it. You can't get it anywhere.
How annoying.
So it's either I wait and get the cable and then do it, or I just kind of go with it. I mean, obviously, it's not like a common enough. I think it was super widespread amongst the presumably tens of thousands of graphics cards NVIDIA have sold and third parties have sold. You would be you'd get recalls by now
Yeah.
about all this, but there's not. So I don't think it's like a super common thing, but it is a thing that is happening. So the most important thing is not to bend the adapter as
Yeah.
much as
Right.
possible, like to try and avoid the bend. So
Oh, sorry.
so we'll see. We will see.
Sketchy times. So-
Yeah, well, luckily I won't need to bend it too much.
Yeah.
Hopefully not at all, because I've got a lot of space. And handily, I've got kind of a panel from where the power supply is that it's specifically for the GPU cable, so to prevent you from kind of routing it around the back of the PC and then having to bend it in and stuff. So
Right.
we'll see. But yes, if it catches fire, I will let people know.
Cool. Go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Make sure you're playing
Runs-
Hollow Knight at the time.
Yeah, no, I need to run something maximum. But yeah, so to circle right the way back, I'll be playing Requiem when that's built again. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're in for a treat. There's some moments in that game where it just looks breathtakingly good. Like it's such a pretty game. So yeah, like I said, I did end up completing it a little bit early today, and I was pretty high on it last week when we spoke about it. I was maybe about 4 or 5 hours in at that point, but genuinely, I think the final sort of 5 chapters or something are just excellent overall. So I think you're in for a bit of a treat when you get around to that. Look, I would definitely recommend it. Got some earlier footage in here. There's nothing spoilery or anything in here. It's actually me playing pretty badly because I didn't have earphones on or anything when I was getting this. I was just sort of playing a bit to capture some footage. But there shouldn't be anything spoilery or anything in here.
Looks nice.
Yeah, but it's such a gorgeous. I'm genuinely, I don't know how a team, because I mean, Asobo want a tiny team, obviously, but I'm astounded by how good it looks, and that's on a Series X, and you're going to be playing it on something many times more powerful than a Series X. The only thing is, though, look, I don't know if you know, but they haven't released the ray tracing update for it yet. They said that was going to come post-launch, but they've not really said anything about it.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that the other day, which is a shame. I don't know what RT they'll do actually, because it's not a very I don't think they would do reflections because it's kind of rural France for the most part. It's not really, there's not a lot of reflective surfaces. So maybe they'll do RTGI or something, which would be really impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I won't wait for that. Want to play it at like 120 frames. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, not that it needs it. It's quite a slow paced game, but
Yeah, true.
it'd be nice. Just nice
Yeah.
to have.
There are a couple
Might as well just to rub it in.
Exactly. Yeah, might as well just rub it in. So yeah, I will. I'm looking forward to picking it back up, and I want to pick it back up and finish it and Bayonetta 3 because in 10 days or whatever it is, then Ragnarok's out. So I want to get everything out of the way, ready for that, because that will consume my life for a few days.
Absolutely. Indy, have you checked out A Plague Tale Requiem yet?
No, I haven't.
Did you play the original?
I haven't actually played the original, actually. Major fraud alert. So.
And you call yourself the indie gamer?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's indie, I suppose you could say. It's a kind of indie. It's, I mean, not the most indie.
It is indie, isn't it?
I guess it's one of those ones I always had trouble sort of feeling like it was part of the indie world in a sense because of the team size. It's quite a big team size, like you said. Yeah. But yeah, no, regardless of that though, I know it's always been there. I've got it on Steam. I've got it on Xbox Game Pass, of course. I don't know, just. It's one of them ones I just think it's never really like got me like super excited. It's obviously looks gorgeous and everything, but yeah, I'll probably play it one day maybe. Although there's so many other games, you know what I mean. But how do you tell me, guys, if I badly need to over other games? Do I badly need to get into this franchise?
Ooh, I really enjoyed both games.
Yeah.
I think this game is a significant step up on the first one. Personally, I would definitely recommend checking them out. Luke, what would you tell Indy he has to play it? Is it a must play in your eyes?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, certainly. I agree. Like the second one's a massive step up. Like the first one's great, but the second one's from what I've played so far, very big step up. And it's a bit of I think it's good because it's not like I know it looks like a AAA, but it doesn't really play like a AAA at all. It's very linear, story driven. It's not like super action orientated either. Like there's
it's more stealth game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like stealthy and exploration, some puzzle solving. It has some unique stuff like the rats as well, which are really awesome.
That does look pretty cool.
I think it's definitely something worth playing. I think it's very good.
And then they're not super long games either, Indy. I think the first game is about. I think the first is maybe 10, 12.
Oh, 10. Okay, cool.
And I think I completed the second one in about 20-ish, according to the Xbox sort of stats thing. But I think that might include time like when you paused and things like that. So it's probably a little less actual game time. So not super long.
Yeah, that's cool. I do quite enjoy stealth. I mean, it's sort of stealthy kind of game, and this one definitely seems to have quite an emotional kind of storytelling. Would you say that's true in this game? With obviously it's quite a hard hitting story. That's what I can gauge anyway.
Yeah. All I'm going to say
without
is
spoiling it. That's all I can. That's what I'm gauging from what
towards
it
like I said, those sort of final chapters of Requiem are excellent, and then as it gets towards the end, it can be quite hard hitting.
So I like that sort of thing.
So
yeah, cool. We'll definitely have to with your recommendation. It's funny because someone I saw on Twitter, not that's ever a good reference, but like said that it fell off quite hard.
I read the same thing. I read a few people that it said that they felt the final few chapters they didn't like for, and I'll not say why, but they had a particular reason. I disagree completely. I think those final chapters 12 through 17, I think, are unbelievable. I think they're the best part of the game in my opinion. And just and I know this isn't everything, but the way certain sections of the game look in those latter parts as well is just ridiculous.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I only saw one person say that about the last chapters being let down. I don't know what happens, but I saw a lot of people saying they actually found the middle part of the game and maybe even the start pretty dull for them. That's not a common opinion, but that was some people that said that. But then they said it made it all worth it for the last 5 chapters.
It's interesting.
So it builds up to like something really great in the last few chapters. So cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Really,
I think the whole game is good, but if I would say the middle, you could consider that a lull somewhat in comparison to the end. But
Right.
that's just because the ending, in my opinion, was so strong. That the middle part is maybe the weaker part of the game. But still, the middle parts, in my opinion, were good, and then the rest of the game just made it excellent.
Maybe
So,
they were just sort of trying to sort of like calm you down before they hit you with the big stuff at the end, kind of dynamics kind of approach or something. I don't know, I haven't played it, but you know, I mean, sometimes if it's all like one way all the way through, it can ruin the sort of flow, I suppose. But yeah, it sounds like it's worth my time anyway. Appreciate the recommendation.
definitely recommend it. And yeah, Luke, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think when you finish it, mate. Because I would like to talk to you about kind of the ending and things like that. So all I'll say is don't skip the post credits scene. It's not much, but don't skip it.
Cool.
So yeah, looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And then other than that, I haven't been playing an awful lot else. I really want to get that finished because I'm going to make a start on Persona 5 next, which honestly is a little bit daunting, if I'm being completely honest. Like the prospect of like a 100 to 120 hour game is, not exactly the most thrilling for me personally, because I do like it a bit short, but I really, really want to check it out. And then actually, I guess to kind of segue into, I guess one of the games I wanted to talk about tonight is we got a little bit of a surprise announcement just this past week from the studio known as Jump Ship, creator of Somerville. And kind of it's funny because we were speaking about it last week, and India, you were in the chat at the time actually, and we were saying, look, they've started posting some screenshots and things like that for the game, so maybe they're looking to start ramping up that kind of pre-launch I guess marketing period. But I think, look, me and you said at the time that maybe it's probably a bit too late for it to come out this year. So hopefully early next year. Hopefully it's not too far away. And then Jump Ship came out, and I believe, did they say November 15th? When's God of War out? Look, 9th.
So yeah.
So it's got a little bit of a buffer. Not that it's necessarily competing with God of War, obviously, but I thought that was it was a really pleasant surprise. I mean, what's that, like a 3-week lead time from kind of the ramp up to launch? And I think this is a game that pretty much everyone here is excited for. I think that's fair to say.
Definite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Indy, for people who maybe don't know, why would people be excited for Somerville?
Wow, lots of reasons, I suppose. You'd say, obviously, the standard thing is that it's part of, the team behind, The Great Inside, obviously, and Limbo, of course. Dino Patti, who came over from that team over to make this game with Chris Olsen, who was already working on it, and they formed Jump Ship to make Somerville. Yeah, so he's obviously got a really good background, so that should be one thing. I mean, I think Chris Olsen is kind of the lead. He's come from like a cinematic background. Like I think he was working in like sort of I don't want to say movies, but like basically video work and stuff like that in cinema. So maybe sort of like creative direction in that side of things, but yeah, some sort of cinematic background, which has been bringing I think it's his first game in, so it's going to feel like there's going to be quite a strong, sort of like sense of cinematic feel to this game, and a lot of strong story. I think it might be quite environmental style storytelling, I bet, but I mean, in general, it looks awesome. They're very much keeping this vague. That's why I thought as well, going back to the run up to this sort of like reveal, I thought it all played into it actually getting still a release this year, because I didn't think they were going to ramp up with clips and things like that, like the Ascent did. They did the same thing on the run up to their announcement, but I always thought they were going to keep it vague, because I've seen them in interviews chatting about it, and they're super keen to keep this a very vague thing until you actually play it and you experience it fully fresh, when you actually play the game, if you see what I mean. So, what they've been showing is, concept art, and I think that's probably as much as they want to show, maybe until a proper release date trailer, maybe. And you saw the reveal for the release. The release date confirmation. I mean, the actual release day trailer, if you know what I mean. But this one was literally very vague, wasn't it? Just November 15th, basically, it confirmed. You didn't really get any gameplay or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's very exciting, because this game is one of my most anticipated, like all of us probably as well. It looks really intriguing. We don't know much about it, but other than the pedigree and the actual beautiful look of the art style and the intriguing story I think it's going to tell. I'm just ready for it so badly. I cannot wait to dive into it, really. But I'm glad it's almost like they're keeping this quite secretive, and it's going to be that sort of feeling of freshness when you go into it, because I think that's going to really help us enjoy this game because of the type of game it is, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely looks like it's come from the team behind Limbo and Inside from what they've shown. One thing that kind of stands out that I think separates a little bit is its use of color, at least in the trailers that they've shown. Obviously, the Limbo and Inside are quite dark, and this has a nice use of color from what they've shown. So
a bit less saturation in this one, isn't it? It's a bit more vibrant, isn't it? I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work out. I think it is 3D movement, isn't it, as well in this game? Yeah. So we're not I think they started as a 2D game, going back a few years. Yeah, and then they moved out of that because of, I can't remember. I've watched a few interviews. We're talking about a couple of years ago and stuff when they were talking about. But I remember them showing a little clip recently as well, where it was on a 2D plane as well. So yeah, they've developed and moved out of that to do the 3D up. And thanks for confirming that, Luke, because I thought I remembered that being the case. So yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be cool. It just seems like you're being chased by some sort of like alien force or something. I don't know. It's quite. What are we thinking about what's actually happening in this game, guys? Because it's quite intriguing, and they don't really confirm. It feels like almost like a end of the world situation or something, or I don't know, supernatural vibes going on, isn't it? It's quite intriguing on that front.
It's funny you say that. And sorry, Luke. It's funny you said that. I don't know if anybody's actually watching the Plague Tale footage, but Indy, you said that just at the time when I was getting chased by the rats in the footage. It was like perfectly timed when I'm getting chased by them. So I said, "Oh, you're talking about Plague Tale again?" So
the master plan.
Yeah. Sorry, Luke, I interrupted you, mate.
No, I think it's an alien invasion.
Is it?
Is the premise. Yeah. So
yeah,
I think,
thought it might be
I think Chris Olsen said before one of the big inspirations for it was War of the Worlds, which you can absolutely see from the trailers.
Yeah.
But they, he's been, as you said, like they want to be quite tight-lipped about it, and I think, interestingly, anytime I've seen an interview or like read an interview with Chris Olsen, he's always been like, "Do not compare it to." Limbo or Inside, because he's like, it's not like those games. For one, obviously they're 2D, but apparently the mechanics are very different here. It's not a focus on platforming. There's not a focus on puzzling. So he's like, just go into it, with no preconceived notions about what it might look like, and just try and experience it. So I think if you look at the marketing, that's what they've tried to do. They've and that's probably what they're trying to do with the release date. Yeah, is just to go, look, like, just try and experience it as fresh as possible, and you'll get the best 100%. Experience from it. So, I mean, I'm super excited for it. I just think it looks great, and it'll be one of those. I don't think it'll be like super long or anything like that, but I think if it nails it, it will be a really great experience. So it's hard to know where these kind of games fall in terms of like how good they'll be, because they rely so much on like the experience of going through the game a bit. And again, not to compare it to Inside, but Inside, like, mechanically, you're not actually doing a lot of puzzling all the time. You're not actually doing a lot of platforming all the time. Really, what makes that game amazing is just the experience of being in this weird universe and experiencing these weird things, and having narrative threads that you don't quite know what's going on. Like, you can have guesses about what's happening, and then obviously the end of Inside is particularly incredible. So I think that in that sense, it probably is similar to Inside or Limbo or something like that. But I think it's just going to be. I feel like this, like, to me, it looks more like a narrative action adventure game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to rely on a lot of. I think the mechanics are going to be a bit strange. It will introduce things that are a bit weird, and I think you can see in the trailers the perspective shifts all the time, which they could really play with. So I'm just really excited for it. I just think it looks great. The art looks amazing as well. So set in the UK as well, I think.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half from where I live that this game gets developed.
Nice. Go and pay them a visit.
Oh, do you say the game's actually set in the UK as well, did you say?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant the game was developed in the UK for a minute.
No, set in the UK.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, you have to get
Nice.
yourself across there. Then you get yourself some,
Give a
like
knock
an
on the door, yeah.
exclusive. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
Puxes, is this a game you're excited for, mate?
Somerville, yeah, 100%. It's one of those ones where I feel like, we've not really seen an awful lot of it, but again, I loved Inside, really like Limbo, and yeah, this just seems like a completely like another weird, mysterious looking game, which I'm looking forward to jumping into. Really, I've kind of reciprocated everything that's been said already. I don't think I've got anything more to add outside of that. But no, this is definitely a game I'm really looking forward to. And I think, as you said, Scott, already, that randomly just seeing the tweet that says, "Oh, Somerville, 15th of November," like
literally, yeah.
straight to the point. Like,
yeah, exactly.
no fluff, no messing about. It's this is it.
Yeah, 100%. It's literally
Look forward to it. It's just like
laying it down.
Yeah. So no, I'm really.
Yeah.
It's a game I'm really looking forward to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned we talk about kind of the time from that tweet to release, which is kind of much shorter than you would expect in like the AAA space, for example. And I know, Indy, you've spoken about it quite a lot, where you really enjoy that sort of really small window between when they announce the game or even when they show anything and the release, and it's much more common for that to happen in the indie scene, isn't it?
All the time, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think I was speaking to Luke about it in the DMs as well. But yeah, something like that will happen often. People sometimes are surprised about it if they're not keeping an eye on that space as much. But like, yeah, you'll get like a month before release, a couple of months before release, sometimes whatever, that they'll come out of. They've obviously had their heads down, focusing on development, and then they're just going to come out when they're ready. That's why I love it so much, because that they are taking all of the time they need to make this game exactly what it needs to be, and they're not rushing towards a date that they've set ahead of time and trying to just chase that date, if you know what I mean. It's just getting the game done to the standard they want it to be, and then coming out, right, okay, we've got a good standard for you guys, how we want it to be. Here's the date in a month's time or whatever, just to finish off like getting it out to you guys. So that's why I love that sort of thing so much, because one thing, it's quite exciting because you get it quite soon, but the other thing is obviously that they've had the time to put it in to make it awesome. And yeah, and I definitely think this one will be fantastic. I was just recapping, actually watching a little of the trailer, and yeah, it's quite interesting because looking at it, it's like it almost looks like a cutscene. All of it. It's not. You can't really get a gauge of where you're controlling it, if you know what I mean. So I think that again, that is part of Chris Olsen's focus. I think he wants it to not almost like he's a creator. He's not maybe a game developer. He might even say that himself. He's all about making this an experience of whatever kind, just to be immersed into. I think that's something he's going for, in my opinion. And yeah, it just looks wonderful. It's going to be a wonderful game to jump into. I wonder how much HUD there'll be. I won't want for any at all, if you know what I mean. It's going to be one of those situations where it's just going to be trying to immerse you in there, and I can't wait to just jump into it.
Yeah, and we don't have long to wait. So November 15th, I think is it just PC and Xbox, or is it coming out on PlayStation and Switch as well?
PCX. So PC, Xbox through Game Pass, obviously, and is Steam as well. So yeah, I don't think there's any other platforms, is there, at the move?
I think Inside and Limbo. I know obviously it's maybe unfair to. I mean, this isn't really a comparison, but did that come to other consoles, or did both those games come to other consoles in the end?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We've obviously only got a couple of weeks to go. November 15th, that is, and yeah, as we mentioned, that's also on Xbox Game Pass. Do we know if it's on PC Game Pass? Can anyone recall, or is it just console Game Pass?
I think it is.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure it is.
And then Steam as well. So will that be a Steam Deck game for you both, or is that going to be a full 4090 game for you, Luke?
Yeah, get the 7,000 frames.
Render it at 8K.
Render it. Yeah, I know. It'll be a 4090 game. I'd love to get it for the Steam Deck, but it just seems a bit of a waste. Paying the money for it when it's on Game Pass, like just to get the Steam Deck functionality via Steam. So yeah, I will be big monitor, headphones, just kind of experiencing that nice.
Same. I mean, yeah, this kind of game. This is the funny thing about the Steam Deck in general. Like sometimes I do wrestle with the fact that I want to play that on the best platform I can play it at, on the desk and in the better PC. The Steam Deck's good for having as an extra thing to play roguelikes on and stuff like that, where you're just playing extra stuff in between. So yeah, sometimes that is one of my personal things that I wrestle with, because I know I always want to play it to the best I can that I have at my disposal. So definitely for Somerville, it's going to be on the the PC, on the desktop.
Yeah, I feel like that game as well is like, it's almost, I don't want to get all like Martin Scorsese about it, but it seems like you should like enjoy
Yeah.
that on as big a display
Oh
with
yeah.
as much kind of audio as possible. It feels like that type of game.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
think it would be quite the same experience having it on the Steam Deck, on a smaller screen and with some headphones. I think, yeah, I might even play it in my living room and just like knock out the walls with some bass or something like that. So we'll see. World's my oyster for Somerville. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, take it to the max.
Yeah.
So, Indy, do you subscribe to PC Game Pass? Out of interest, mate, will you be picking this up on Steam?
Well, hopefully we'll get a review code.
Okay, the perks.
And it'll be on Steam. But yeah, I've requested, but their PR is not very good at all, I'm afraid. But so I don't think it's going to happen. But it's not like I'm in with them already, like some other people, like, and they got contacts people, but this one is just like email the website. But yeah, so I don't know if it's going to happen. But I do subscribe to Game Pass Ultimate, but I'm actually considering sort of just taking that down and just doing PC Game Pass or something. I don't know. I rarely play over. I never play on the Xbox anymore, if I'm honest. I'm sorry. I'm on the PC all the time. I love Game Pass, but most of the time I'm playing on Steam, and then sometimes I'll play games like Signalis. I'm playing that on PC Game Pass. So I'm wondering if I should just make it PC Game Pass instead. But then it's just not much of a difference in price at the end of the day, is there? But it's a tough one.
Was it like $15 down to $10?
Exactly. So and then it's like the occasion, then I'll unsubscribe and everyone will be like, come and play some multiplayer tonight on it, and I'll be like, oh no. But yeah, no, so it's sort of I prefer to play on Steam, so hopefully they'll give us a review code on there. But I probably will play, if I don't get the review code for Steam, then I'll play it on Xbox PC Game Pass. Yeah, if that's to answer your question, probably.
Very nice. And is this Jump Ship's first game? I believe
Yep.
it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So obviously we know, obviously one of the founders came from, oh Christ, why is the name escaping me? Help me out here, gents.
Playdead.
Playdead, that's the one. Thank you very much. So you mentioned Chris Olsen, Indy. What's it's not a name I'm familiar with. What's his background out of interest? Has he worked on games in the past? Is this his first
I think this is his
project?
first game as well. Yeah, so as well as it being the studio's first game, of course. I think Luke might be better on this, but like my brain stuff doesn't stick in my brain like it does Luke. So I have looked into this before, and he's, like I say, he comes from a cinematic background. I'll probably just pass it straight to Luke, because he'll probably have all the information on it. So
it's just the age, mate.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
It's that extra 8 years. It's messing with your mind.
It's horrific.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he's like a concept artist or film artist. So he's worked on things like he worked on one of the Avengers, for example.
Oh, nice.
And stuff like that. But he comes from the film industry, so this is his first game, and ergo it's Jump Ship's first game as well. So
yeah,
be interesting to see. And I mean, in terms of the cinematography, if you will, of the game, like you can tell that's his background, because it's very cinematic. So
yeah, that's exciting about that, and I think that was one of the reasons he wanted to sync up with a game developer, and obviously synced up with a extremely awesome one with Dino Patti. So that was a great little combination to come together. So he's got the game side of it covered with that kind of thing, and then he's got his cinematic flair, which they, obviously Dino Patti probably had a ton of that anyway. But it's a great partnership to take the lead of that studio to make this game amazing. It's got so much potential to be a massive hit. So I really hope this is gonna live up to all the hopes, because I think it's got all the ingredients, basically.
Yeah, I also find it fascinating that this is obviously the first game from an independent studio, and they've obviously, when they showed off the release date trailer, as you're saying, they showed off nothing. But I think it goes to show the excitement for the game because of the pedigree of, particularly from Dino coming from Playdead, that people are that excited that they can get away with just here's a date,
Definite.
and that's it, and that's enough for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, I remember like even back in when it was first revealed. Don't know if you guys remember the first trailer where it was like a wide shot of like I think it was like the Earth spinning slowly or something like at the end, and there was just like this like kind of big sort of barn or something which just had cool lighting going on. It literally was hardly anything, but it just looked super intriguing at that stage. You guys remember that first trailer for Somerville?
Was that
Yeah.
like what 4 or 5 years ago now?
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it was a long time ago.
wasn't it? So.
Yeah, so like even that got the intrigue, and that was just sort of like setting the tone, I think, for it. And that's probably might even been before Dino was on board, maybe even. But that might have been what got him interested or something. But yeah, like it's cool. It's cool to see, and yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, really, really looking forward to that. So again, yeah, November 15th, not an awful lot of time to wait. Luke, do you think you'll be done with God of War by November 15th? Is that when you're just gonna fly through? Do you think in as quick a time as possible?
I think so. Yeah. I won't be rushing to play Somerville, but I'll almost be, as in, not because I'm not looking forward to it, because I am being one of my most 30 games for a while, but obviously Ragnarok. So I feel like I'll kind of be stuck to a screen with Ragnarok, and just kind of naturally finish it pretty quickly because I won't be doing anything else other than playing it. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. But I'm also really excited for Somerville, and that would be a nice game to kind of bookend what's been a really good period. But then there's Callisto Protocol, isn't there, as well after Somerville? So
it doesn't stop.
Great
mate,
time.
does it?
Doesn't stop.
So
Grind never
many.
stops.
It's going to be the big flare-up season again of, like influx of games. I think. I don't know. It just feels like that to me anyway. Like it's gonna go crazy again before like the end of the year review season or whatever. If you're trying to get games covered or whatever, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it last week, didn't we? We were talking about obviously the games coming out at the end of this year, and Somerville obviously wasn't really on our radar at that point. But then obviously we're talking about how stacked early next year is looking at this point as well. So we're in for a good 6, 7, or 8 months, I think. So.
Yeah, and then it'll be Game Awards again soon.
Yeah, I guess that's the next big event, really. I think it's probably fair to say we're not going to get anything from Sony the rest of this year. Luke, do you think?
No, I was kind of like, surely they'll have something, but the fact that they then, well, not them, but you had Silent Hill 2, which surely would have been on their show if they wanted to do a show. You had just a random Final Fantasy trailer drop, again, which would have been like a prime thing on a show that they would have done. So I don't think they're doing anything this year. I can't see it anyway. I think they'll have something at the Game Awards because they always do. But what that will be, but I think they'll probably have a showcase. Maybe the first 4 months of the year, they might have just switched the timings on it. But
yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. I mean, they didn't really need to have one, I guess, because they had Ragnarok coming, which is one of their biggest games.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think they'll have anything for Ragnarok between now and launch, like another Ragnarok State of Play, or do you think that?
I don't think so. Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think they did that amazing trailer, and they've done in fact, they did have something because they had that, and I haven't watched it because I'm just trying to avoid everything. But they had a 9-minute combat overview, which was a bit like a State of Play type thing.
Oh, right, okay.
Talking about the combat in the game and showing some new footage, nothing spoilery, but they had that. They had the big story trailer, which, as I say, which was amazing. So I just don't think. I think they just really don't want people to be spoiled on it, and unfortunately, there are already spoilers out there. Because some retailer decided to sell it 10 days early, which is baffling. So yes, if you're interested, please be careful, particularly on Twitter, particularly on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw the tweet from Corey. I think just a couple of days ago, and I didn't know that leak had happened just yet. Although I do think some people, some press, people, I think someone in Brazil, I think had started leaking stuff. Whether it was accidental or not, probably not. But so it's a bit of a shame for anyone that's looking forward to it. So yeah, be vigilant out there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pux, did you end up
Yeah.
doing your PS5, your PS4 SSD upgrade in the end? I can't remember if
Yeah.
you said you were going to check out Ragnarok on the PS4. You were gonna hold
I will
off.
be, yeah. No, I think last week I said that I was originally toying of whether to jump in with the PS5, seeing as they're more readily available. But I thought, well, I've still got my PS4. I can wait till next year. And I think it was because there was rumors that there might be a refresh of the PS5, and that, there was some rumors about there
Yeah.
being a separate disc drive, a version of the PS5, but the disc drive is separate. It's connected through USB-C or something. Again, it's all rumor, nothing confirmed, but no smoke about fire. And given how kind of component scarcity is at the moment, it's still going on for ages, and it's still going to be going on for at least the next 2 years. So I wouldn't, it makes perfect sense why these companies may be thinking of doing rehashes of their systems, even nothing technically different, just needing to use different components. And obviously, by doing so, they've maybe just taken the opportunity to potentially respin things. So, now, long story short, I've just, for now, for God of War, I've decided, well, I'll do a mini upgrade of my current PS4, give it an SSD, which I've now done. It's actually a really easy process, which was nice. So, I'm all ready to go November 9th, downloading it straight to the system, and away I go. So,
Very nice. Well, we'll have to get yours and Luke's thoughts on that after it's released. Although I know it'll be kind of like talk of the town. We touched on it last week, and we spoke about whether it might be it's probably the only thing that's going to challenge Elden Ring, I think, this year in terms of Game of the Year nominations and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it lands. But the media previews that came out, or was it like a week or 2 weeks ago now, seemed super positive anyway. So but yeah, be careful. Yeah, it was interesting. The tweet from Corey talked about it's funny because there was a bit of controversy this past week about Call of Duty, where the disc for Modern Warfare 2 includes like a 70 meg installer on the disc, so you've got to download it, and it's 130 gig or something stupid like that as well. There's literally none of it on the actual disc. And I think Corey, one of his tweets, is like, oh well, I wish I can really see the benefit of doing that right now, because obviously they could just not let people download it. So yeah, but not too long to wait for that as well. Just what is that? 2 weeks? A little less than 2 weeks at this point. Is it a week on Tuesday?
Week on Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday,
isn't it? Yeah.
Very nice. So
Well, can't believe it's here. So excited. Can't wait.
well, don't forget Sonic Frontiers. I mean, that's like the day before.
Oh,
so.
yeah. I won't have time to play Ragnarok because I'll be playing Sonic Frontiers.
That's genuine as well, Puxley. I know you enjoyed it, didn't you?
I'm actually, you know what? I really enjoyed the EGX demo. I thought it was actually, my impression of the game completely changed after playing it hands on. So probably not day one, but it's definitely on my list to jump on soon. Yeah.
No, it is. I might buy that game just to get some footage for it, just to play it for BMG. I think that I might just do it just to spite them.
Less devotion to the case. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, I honestly forgot that was coming out. To be honest, Pucks, like I think I only remember that game coming out when you mentioned that it's coming out, and then 2 minutes later it's like gone. It's like.
So yeah, I mean Ragnarok is like the big game, right? It's like it's kind of this massive shadow behind Frontiers.
Or is that the reverse? Frontiers is a
it could
shadow
be
in front of Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Overshadows the
Yes.
release of that game.
Brilliant. Yeah, there's a lot coming as well. But yeah, you just got to tuck in as much as possible. There's a lot of good stuff coming.
And I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, Luke. You picked up the collector's edition of Bayonetta 3 at the weekend. Have you managed to make a start on that since you picked it up?
Yeah. I've played a couple of hours. I've got a pretty bad backlog on the Switch at the moment because I've got that which I'm playing, Splatoon 3, which is just part of the backlog at the minute, even though I really enjoyed the hours that I played in it. I've got Sparks of Hope as well, which I've not even touched. But I thought I'll start on Bayonetta because obviously it's very linear action, 3D character action game. So, and it's not like super long. And I tend to really enjoy those. So yeah, I've played a couple of hours on it, and it's awesome. I mean, it's great. I think critically it's been super well received. Probably one of the highest rated games of the year, actually.
Yeah,
alongside Elden Ring. which I think some people were maybe doubting that, obviously, because Platinum haven't really had great releases in the last couple of years.
Mm.
But they're kind of back to form with this one, and even within like an hour of this one, I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Like it's just mental. And if you've played a Bayonetta before, you know how kind of mad they are, but they've taken it so over the top. This one, like clearly they've had some Marvel influence at some point because it's like the story's all based around multiverse stuff, which is really cool. And yeah, it's just crazy. The only criticism I have of it is that you can tell that Platinum had a really grand ambition, and they, you know, have succeeded in what they want to do. It's like as a spectacle fighter, essentially. The spectacle is amazing, but they are severely hamstrung by the hardware of the Switch because the image quality is just terrible. Like it's just not good.
I was going to ask about that actually because I read a number of reviews and I'm surprised it's actually. I don't want to say I'm surprised it's graded so highly because yeah, the game is the game,
Yeah.
but performance can typically mar a lot of people's view on a game. Like it could be a brilliant game, but if performance tanks quite a lot, it tends to put people off. So
Yeah.
have you found that at all? I know you said visually it's kind of downgraded resolution, but outside, any other kind of performance aspects? 'Cause I read that it's a bit choppy in a number of places, but is that the case for you or?
Yeah, it is it. So obviously, it targets 60 FPS as you know all Platinum's games tend to do, and Bayonetta has always done because it's a action brawler. Um, it mostly sticks to that, but um, there are quite a lot of dips actually. It won't dip like so severely that it's unplayable, but I'd say from an eye test it kind of dips to the 40s at points and or early 50s, which isn't too bad. But it does happen far more frequently than like Bayonetta 2, for example, which really didn't dip that much. I mean, I remember Bayonetta 2 dipped really badly in one particular area where there were all sorts of reflections going on, but other than that, it was really stable. So that's like on the performance side, that's the main thing, but it's just the image quality for me. Like that's like a real. So like I've got the OLED Switch, and I was like, great, I'll play it handheld. And I played it, and the opening section is like so over the top, and it's like this huge city brawl that's happening. Essentially, there's shit flying everywhere. It's really incredible. It's awesome. But it clearly uses some sort of dynamic resolution scaler. And like on a small screen in handheld mode, like Bayonetta herself just becomes like this kind of little craggly blur of stuff because it's like dipping. The resolution must be at about 540p, maybe below that in handheld at these points.
Jesus.
It's so bad. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I was like, actually, probably best to like play this on a bigger screen because I don't want to be there like
Be a bigger
"Fuck is
blur.
like I'm trying to find out what's happening. Like I don't know what the fuck. And like because there's so much going on, the enemies are so massive. It has this like amazing kaiju mechanic essentially where you can just like summon a giant beasts to fight for you. Like it's so over the top. But in those sections, obviously Bayonetta becomes like this big on a screen, like it's impossible. So I was like, I'll put it on, where the dock is. So I've got 55-inch OLED.
I'm honestly not too sure if this was the right idea, Luke. I know you're probably going to go into it, but like based on what you said, the last thing I thought was the thing I was thinking the whole time was how bad is this going to look on a TV?
Yeah. Well, this is exactly where I'm going. So then I put it on, and I was like, "This is barely any better." I mean, it's like I can see stuff now, but like, if anything, that then because it's blown up to such a large size, obviously the resolution does go up because it's got extra performance, but not really that much. And it exposes all the other visual flaws in the game, which are like texture work is shit. And this isn't a affront to Platinum because it look like in some places it looks pretty nice, like it looks okay, but you're talking like legitimate like 360 early 360 visuals in this game, which it's not the be all and end all, but for where we are in the generation, the type of stuff we're seeing now, the type of resolutions that we're used to in other consoles and PC, and consistent frame rates and image quality and all that stuff. It just really, this is the game more than any other that I've played on Switch that really exposes how underpowered that system is now. Because anything else, like any of like Splatoon, looks great even on a bigger screen. Okay, it's not 4K, but the art style lends itself well to that. But when you're trying to do like complex visuals, like kind of introduce a lot of geometry and stuff, like it just can't cope anymore with this stuff. So
Yeah.
like it's a great game, like it's a fantastic game, and I am firmly of the belief that when I finished it, it will be in my like favorite games of this year. But prepare for this to look shit most of the time, is what I would say.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't play on my Switch anymore because, and it's not that like I'm a snob or anything like that, but like the performance and how things look. I don't like playing in handheld mode for a start because the ergonomics of the Switch, in my opinion, are absolutely dreadful. So I only ever play it on the TV, but and my TV isn't as large as yours, Luke. But playing even docked games on a 4K TV, certain games look great, like Mario in particular looks fantastic, and I think Nintendo have really got the craft of making those games look good regardless because of the art style they choose. But yeah, some other games just look, unfortunately,
third party games are awful on the Switch, aren't they, in general?
Generally, they're really bad.
I'm desperate for new Nintendo hardware. I really hope that, I don't think they'll do it, but I really hope they've got upgraded hardware for Tears of the Kingdom coming out next year.
There was some rumors a while back, weren't there, about there being, like, I know there's rumors for a long time now about like a Switch 2, Switch Pro, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I think there was that Nvidia leak a while back, wasn't there? And I think in there was some, like, if looking really deep into it, there was actually some kind of some minor details that were like linked to Nintendo, but regarding like a new Tegra chip. And it was like, okay, it's got to be for new hardware, surely. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely coming.
Definitely.
But it's just when are they going to introduce it? Because like even Bayonetta 3, like if you just ignore the visual stuff in terms of, obviously this is it's not going to look amazing in terms of texture work or any of that sort of stuff compared to, or lighting or whatever. The majority of the issues would be cleared up if it just outputted at a higher resolution and it cleared up any frame dips. It would be great. Like you could live with it not being the most impressive game in the world visually, because you'd be like, okay, it's really sharp and it's really smooth. And that's really all they need to do for a Switch successor or a Switch Pro. I think it'll be a Switch successor at this point. But I mean, the leaked specs that they had look really, really strong, at least compared to the original Switch. So and obviously it'll use DLSS, which will be an enormous boost for that system and for what they're doing. So, but I really feel like they need to, like you, Scott, they need to get this out, like hopefully, like Tears of the Kingdom time, because like Zelda Breath of the Wild, I actually thought looked really good on handheld Switch. It did pretty well. Not the greatest, but like better than a lot of other stuff. And docked, it looked pretty good as well. But you just feel like they're kind of doing the games a disservice by not having the hardware in place to really show off the art. You know what I mean? Like Breath of the Wild has amazing art, and Bayonetta has great art as well. And because of the weakness of the console, it kind of like handicaps how good these games can look artistically, because you've just got like jaggies everywhere, poor, blurry images. I mean, if anybody has ever played Xenoblade 2, for example, on the Switch, like it's like smearing Vaseline on your screen and just like looking at a game. It's just ridiculous. Like it's just atrocious. It goes down to 360p on handheld.
Wow.
Like what? Like and that's a game with huge like vistas, like JRPG, like massive expansive world. It just looks like shit. It just looks terrible. But Xenoblade 3, it suffers from. I've not got it, but it suffers from the same issue apparently. I mean, they've done a bit better, but they can only do so much because it's like crap hardware. It's not powerful.
I've just seen Tukun Gudish says saying it would be nice to see some version of Cloud or Game Pass on the Switch, but that just reminded me because I know Village came out on Cloud on Switch, didn't it, earlier this week or last week, and that got absolutely canned because they're saying that like games like Control and I think some of those other ones which were like Cloud only on Switch were like for the most part okay if you had a good connection, but apparently the Village and Plague's Tale as well. That's also got a Cloud only port on Switch. And apparently it's so garbage that it doesn't even, it can't even contain or it can't even maintain a consistent connection because there's just so much processing going on, I assume. But
well, it's unless you've got the OLED, the dock for the original Switch doesn't even have an Ethernet port. And obviously if you're playing a handheld anyway, you're relying on Wi-Fi for a start, which you don't want to when playing any cloud game.
Yeah, I don't even think the Switch itself can. I don't even think it's got 5 gigahertz capability. I think it only connects to 2.4, so it's slow anyway.
Right,
in comparison.
You know what it is? I remember when Kingdom Hearts was announced for the Switch, and they announced the PS2 versions of Kingdom Hearts were going to be cloud versions of the game, and people are going to be paying like. But this is the same with Hitman and Plague Tale and Resident Evil. You're paying £50 for a cloud-only version of a game, and it's kind of like, this is kind of what killed Stadia. And obviously this isn't going to kill Nintendo, but not by any stretch, but it almost kills the prospect of those games being successful on that platform, in my opinion. But you're paying, full price for a cloud-only version of a game that runs like complete and utter shit because it's relying on just a poor Wi-Fi connection. I wonder if many people are being caught out by that, where they've just seen Resident Evil on the store or something, and like, oh shit, Resident Evil, and then they find out what it is.
I think the only saving grace with regards to the cloud on Switch is that for any and all cloud games that I've seen, or for most of them, they let you download a trial version so that you can test your connection beforehand.
That's good. I didn't realize it did that.
Yeah. And most of the time, you can just all you're doing is confirming that it's going to run like shit, and it does. So you then choose not to buy it anyway. But
yeah, I wonder. I don't know what service they use for that. I wonder if they're using maybe like a Stadia or like an Azure or something like that. Or I wonder whether it's just dependent on the developer or whether Nintendo got something. But at the same time, you're always going to be limited in what you can offer because, as I said, 2.4 Wi-Fi. You can maybe get. I think the OLED dock does have Ethernet, if I remember correctly. But obviously the original one doesn't. You can buy an adapter, admittedly, but still, it's a bit of a not ideal, So, but I would love Game Pass to be on the Switch as a handheld, but only if the Switch had 5 gigahertz. Wi-Fi. I would probably check it out at that point. But then you look at something like the Logitech G Cloud and that Razer Cloud, and those things themselves are like, how much were they? Like $350 to $400. Just for a cloud only Android device. And it's like, holy shit, that's
getting a Steam Deck.
Too expensive.
Play that on it.
Absolutely. Because you can just load up a browser on the Steam Deck, can't you? And just play it that way. We spoke about that at the time, and I still have no idea why you would get that device personally. So, So, but Pux, going back to Bayonetta, is Bayonetta a franchise that you play, mate? I've actually not checked out any Bayonetta games to be perfectly honest.
I played Bayonetta 1 back in the 360 days. I didn't mind it. It's just one of those games I never jumped on, so I never became a fan just because I never really had the time to play. I was playing other stuff at the time, and bearing in mind with 360 days, I was still in secondary school, so all that kind of jazz going on. So it's just one of those ones that passed me by. But I've always liked the look of it. It is my kind of game. I've just never given myself the time to play it. At some point, yes, maybe I'll pick it up, but it's not something I'm jumping to at the moment.
Yeah. Did what Luke said make any difference to your thoughts on the game?
It kind of, I don't want to say it puts me off because for me, especially Switch games, like graphics aren't the be all and end all because I know for the most part, they're gonna look shit when you compare it to when you compare it to what you're used to playing on an Xbox or a high-end PC or whatever. But like gameplay wise, if it's a good game, I will enjoy it on Switch. But it look from what Luke was saying, it sounds like the kind of game that the visuals may want to hold up a bit. But then again, review scores are really high, despite all of those performance-based stuff. So it's one of those ones I'll have to just give a go. But I don't know if I'm willing to spend the 60 quid to find that out for myself, if you get what I mean. Not yet, at least, anyway. Maybe next year or something. But I say that, but then Tears of the Kingdom's coming out, and so is other stuff. So it may well just pass me by, and I'll never touch it again. But it is one of those ones that I would like to get into at some point. But when that is, I unfortunately have no idea when that's going to be. Just because the gaming calendar is just so stacked.
Yeah, I think honestly, I would probably only play either a Mario or Zelda game on the Switch these days until new hardware comes out. I think when they bring new hardware out, I might delve into some of those games. To be fair, actually, I do want to pick up Mario Rabbids, Luke. I really, really enjoyed the first game, so I do want to pick that up. And that game's another one where, because of the art style they choose, I think it still looks great.
Yeah, it does.
So I do want to pick that up. But I think realistically, kind of other games like Pux, you're a Pokemon fan, aren't you, as well? I believe we've spoken about it in the past.
I am, yeah.
I kind of want to pick up either Scarlet or Violet later this year, but at the same time, like Arceus,
just not.
I did get Arceus, and it's just so, it's
graphically, it's questionable. But I don't know, but gameplay wise, I did find it really good. But
they made some
Scarlet
good
and Violet
choices.
seem to be exactly the same.
Yeah, but what was it? What was the game before Arceus? Oh Christ!
The mainland or the next one that released?
The mainland before Arceus.
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield, yeah. Like, I just remember playing the wild area in that game, which was the bit I was most excited for, and like it was probably lucky if it was like 15 frames in that area when you were trying to take down one of the giant Pokemon with friends and stuff. So
Arceus was kind of what that was meant to look like, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. And now Scarlet and Violet kind of feel like an evolution of that. But I think a lot of us were surprised because Arceus obviously came out January this year, and it was like, oh Christ, okay, so it was almost like a spin-off or a test version of what Scarlet and Violet's going to be, if you get what I mean. It kind of felt like it was just this, I don't want to say half-baked, but arguably half-baked experience just to kind of test the open world side of things. And then, although I do think, every Pokemon has a gimmick which most people don't care about, but I think the open world co-op has got a lot of people really excited. I know it's got me quite excited, but I'm also a tiny bit hesitant because, again, how well is it going to be? I don't want to say you can go anywhere you want, wherever you want, no matter where you are, the pair of you, but, is it going to be that way? Is performance going to tank for some reason playing online? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it for that reason, for once.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see on that one, I think so. But yeah, hopefully Nintendo, if Nintendo are listening, maybe, please release the Switch 2 by May of next year, if you wouldn't mind. That'll be lovely. Preferably for me, just release an under the TV console, traditional console. I don't need the handheld. I doubt they'll ever go down that route again, but I would much prefer they just release that. So in India, are you a Nintendo guy? Do you check out many of the games? Do you have a Switch?
I do have a Switch, but it's literally imminently going to be sold. It's just me being lazy that I haven't sold it yet, basically. I need to get on that. That's probably going to be sold soon, as I say. But yeah, like the reason I bought it originally, I think I've had a conversation before about this with you guys, was before I had the PC, I bought the Switch, and it was more for the indies that were on there. And then when I got the PC, it was just literally useless because all the PC games on Steam and everything, that's where I played it, if you know what I mean. And I didn't really buy it for the first part, even though I've got obviously like Mario Kart and Mario Odyssey and stuff. They don't really, they're not really what I'm about, to be honest. Obviously it's fun to play Mario Kart with my nephew and stuff like that sometimes, but it's not really like what I'm there for all the time every day, you know what I mean? So yeah, not really massively into Nintendo these days, I'm afraid.
That's fair, mate. That's fair, especially now that you've got your Steam Deck as well. You don't even need portability,
even more so.
Like
that's what I mean by it's time to. I was keeping it, just kind of knocking about, and then Steam Deck's here. There's definitely no reason to keep now, so I just need to get that sold. Really, I'm looking to buy a camera, but that's completely off topic. So
it's all right. We have those topics around here. We regularly have Luke's PCMR topic. Do a camera topic if you want.
Absolutely. I've had the conversations with Luke, so he knows that in the DMs that it's without the cameras. So, but yeah, nice. Unfortunately, it's not really on my agenda anymore. Like PC, it's amazing for indies. Obviously, they do a great job of doing the indie side of things on Switch, so it's great for people who are enjoying that on that platform. So, but yeah, it's just not really for me anymore.
Yeah, no, that's fair, mate. That's fair. Like I say, that it's I'm very much in the same boat, except for Mario and Zelda at the moment. So maybe new hardware will change that, but we'll have to see. That thing's still selling like hotcakes, so it kind of just doesn't feel like they really need to at this stage. You know, it's still selling bonkers amounts.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Really, it's just like obviously they're probably just going with it, like you say. As they're getting so many sales, it sort of makes them think they could just keep riding it out because that's it's not going to cost them that much investment to start a new one, especially when they're getting the sales anyway. So maybe just tell people to stop buying the thing, and then we might get a new one. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, and the thing is, it doesn't even go for any cheaper now than it did at launch, I don't think.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, Nintendo games, they go down at all, do they?
No. Yeah, and to be fair, if I have a look at my drawer here, they're the only physical games I actually own. So,
yeah, they're good for buying physical because you can sell them for a pretty good return, can't you, if you wanted to ever?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, was there anything else that came up this week, Chance, that you guys wanted to chat about? I know we said we'd cover Somerville, Bayonetta. We kind of touched on Call of Duty. I don't know if Pucks, there was anything else on Call of Duty you wanted to mention, mate.
I don't think so. Again, it's one of those. It's only just come out, right? And I haven't got the game myself. I've played it. I think the only thing I thought was weird that I know Flap and I spoke about yesterday actually was just little things like there's still footstep audio issues and things like that. And you think, how many Call of Duty games have these people made? And why are they changing I appreciate they're updating things under the hood, but are you really changing things that drastically every time? And and arguably it's only footstep audio. I appreciate there's lots that go into it. It's not as simple as it sounds.
Is that one of the things they're saying is a selling point or something?
No, it's one of the issues because I think
that would be classic.
I think a lot of it's weird because I think they've changed a lot of the gunplay to not be so run and gun this time around. The whole I don't know if you guys saw some of the kind of the Infinity Ward kind of shows that they did based on the game beforehand, but they've basically tweaked this game enough so that it's not a game for just the pros anymore. They've tweaked it so that newcomers to Call of Duty can actually enjoy it and not just be absolutely blasted by the COD sweats which exist online and the streamers that think that they are the audience when reality is they're not, right? And so things like so people can't play stealthily at the moment because even when you're crouched and walking around, the footstep audio is too loud. So you can just hear when someone's coming. So you could just like beam them out a doorway or something. Yeah. Or the game's also catered more for camping gameplay or camping play if that's your style, which again, big streamers of the world tell you it's like the game is trash because it's encouraging that style of play. Yeah. But then equally, not everyone can play the game for tens of hours every single day and run around the map knowing it all inside out. So I just find those arguments weird personally, but yeah. Oh, apart from that, Scott, no, there's nothing else I have to add to that.
I might check out Warzone 2 when that comes out in November. I think it is. I don't mind myself. A bit of a battle royale game. I've actually been playing a bit of Apex Legends a bit more recently. I dropped off that a bit when Halo came out, but jumped back into that. But just Call of Duty isn't really for me. I don't know if you saw the video, Pucks. I think just along the lines of you saying it's kind of catered to maybe newer players as well, where it showed how bad or good I guess the aim assist is in the game and how much it tracks players. Like literally, if you're weaving running towards someone, it literally just tracks left, right when you're not touching it. And it showed someone kind of jumping out of a window, and it literally tracked him kind of from the top across and then down. Right. It's obviously very extreme, I guess, catering for that. But my friend who I game share with, he played it. I spoke to him earlier today, and he said he played it for about 20 minutes and then he turned it off because he was like, it was just a camping sweaty mess, and he's like, he couldn't be bothered with it. So what we did is we played Apex Legends, and it was a camping sweaty mess on Apex Legends anyway. But, yeah.
I think the only other weird thing, if we're talking about Call of Duty for a sec, is the weird mechanism that they've put in for unlocking attachments on the game. So every other game and the first Modern Warfare reboot beforehand and some of the other ones, it's the same old formula of to unlock stuff for the weapon, like, new sights, whatever else, you just use that weapon, you level up the weapon and you unlock attachments for it as you go along. They've changed it on this one so that each gun has like its main receiver, and that's kind of basically the body of the gun. So it's kind of what gives the gun its performance, I guess, and you just attach things around it to just plus or minus certain attributes. But then I saw a few videos which is quite funny. So they say this guy was saying he wanted to unlock a red dot sight for the M4, but then to do that he had to use this other type of weapon, level that up to about level 12 to then unlock this other thing. But then before he could do that requirement, he had to then use a third gun, which he then had to unlock first, get that to about level 13, which then enabled him to use the previous gun to then get that up to the right level, to then get the red dot for the gun he actually wants it for.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, it was meant to be really easy. It was meant to be a way so that you don't have to re-unlock stuff for the weapon that you mainly use. But it sounds like it's forcing you to use now the weapons you don't care about to get the attachments you want for the gun that you do care about. So...
Yeah, it's just trying to give like a sense of progression in some ways, isn't it? Like almost a false sense of progression. But it's funny you mention that because I remember obviously when I was a lot younger, like the last Call of Duty game I properly played was the original Modern Warfare 2. And I remember like prestiging on that game. It's like, why the fuck would you prestige on that game? You just, all that hard work you've done to unlock those attachments that you're on about, Pucks.
Have you ever prestiged in a COD game when you did play?
Yeah, I would like to say, I used to do it Modern Warfare 2 in particular, but it got to a point where like I prestige once or twice, and I was like, why the fuck would I do this again? Like I'm just making it harder.
I think COD 4, the original Modern Warfare, I think I got to prestige 7 or 8. That's how much I played it. But as you say, by the time I played Modern Warfare 3, I got to the max level like the first time, and I was like, nah, it's too much effort. I haven't got the time.
Yeah, the attachment thing's literally probably the only good thing that Battlefield 2042 did. I don't know if you checked that out, Pucks, but kind of the guns already...
I don't own it, but I played a bit of it, yeah.
The guns already have the attachments, and then kind of just on the fly you can flick between the different sights. The sights is the main thing, whether you've got a iron sights or 1x or a ACOG or something like that. That was literally one of the things that I really, really thought was a good design choice in Battlefield. Obviously, everything else was a bit of a mess, unfortunately. But yeah, I really don't think like I say, I've got access to it, but I really don't think I'm gonna check it out. Although what I will say is some of the screenshots I've seen for the campaign. I think there's a lot of screenshots going around of, I think, a level based in Amsterdam, and it does seem to look absolutely bonkers.
And they say it's 1-to-1 to the actual real life location as well, isn't it? It's not just like a made up version of the same environment. It is the actual streets of scale. Like you can physically go there.
Yeah, like basically walking around there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, that did look like that. They're pretty cool. Is that the one where you're sort of like doing like recon and then you have to inject someone or something like that bit? Is that that?
Spoiler alert. Maybe. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It is on Twitter or something. Yeah.
I don't think you can spoil a Call of Duty game, really.
Not really.
Campaigns are just a whole lot of nonsense.
Yeah. I have to admit, it did catch my eye, the detail that it looked like it had, and I wouldn't usually like click on a Call of Duty video, but I thought that does look pretty. Graphics look pretty good. I have to have a little look at that. So, but yeah, I kind of looked almost. I know when I played it, I played the video. It almost made me think, there's something not there. It looks like photorealistic, but it just something was weird about it. If you know what I mean, it was almost. It didn't look like it was. I don't know. There's something wrong about it. I don't know. Photorealistic looking. Does it feel good to play when you're playing the campaign and stuff, or is it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got the game yet. I haven't played the campaign.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying you played. Right. Okay. Cool,
I had played the multiplayer.
Cool.
I was playing with Flap yesterday around his place, but I don't own the game myself yet, so I'm yet to play any campaign. But multiplayer,
I think it might just been. Oh, cool. Nice to hear. Yeah. I mean, there's been some mixed opinions about it, hasn't there, out there? So some people.
I think it all depends on how much you're into it and how much of a sweat you are. I think that is the right way to put it, because if you just like playing casually and you find the gun that you like, put some attachments on it, because the pre-built classes in this one are actually really good, and if you're happy just to start with those, like you can laser beam quite easily as long as you play relatively well. But That's like,
Yeah.
it's just fun. Like
It's
it's
the
just
sa-
like running
yeah,
around and
it's
shooting shit. That's all you want to do. But people get
yeah, I see what you mean.
people just get too emotional about it, I think, online. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh, it's changing. It's not what it used to be, and it's like, well, of course it's not, because it's been 20 years in the making. What do you expect?
that's what people actually think it's changed. I was going to say it feels the same to me, but that's maybe from a more stood back perspective, if you see what I mean.
I think it's weird because I think a lot of it is rose tinted glasses. Because if people say, "Oh, COD 4 was the best," and I loved it personally, and I still do. But I've not played it for years, so if I was to
Yeah.
play it now compared to what I'm used to playing, like as of
Yeah.
today, like it's gonna play like shit. Like like
Yeah.
like the sprint stamina is gonna suck, and the weapon attachments are limited. You can't do
Yeah.
You've only got 3 attachments per weapon. It's like, what is this
Yeah.
prehistoric era? But but at the time, it was like novel and new and brilliant. So yeah, I don't know.
I like
Ran
Pyro's
over.
Yeah, rant over. Yeah. Going to the red light district, and it sounds like a perk from Pyro, I think. That's good.
Yeah, don't think there's any of that in it, Pyro. But I've not played it to say so. But as we said at the beginning of the show, if you're into that kind of thing, check out Indies OnlyFans. Yeah. Luke, will you be checking out Modern Warfare 2, mate? I don't know if I can't remember if we've really spoken about it before. Obviously, I know you're a fan of shooters and stuff, but is this one that you're likely to check out?
I don't know. I played the beta actually. When it came to
The porn
timing.
box.
What about that for
Yeah.
timing?
Yeah, keep it on so I can research the links to make sure
They will literally come from the
not
red
too
light
bad.
district.
Yeah.
I blame Pyro for that. Cheers, Pyro.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
Mentions of Amsterdam have just triggered some bot algorithm somewhere. So I played the beta on PS5 when it came to that. And I don't really, I mean, I'd say I really don't like Call of Duty multiplayer. I just find it
Yeah.
garbage, to be honest. Not like the mechanic stuff, because actually it's such a great feeling shooter, and sound design is just impeccable on it, and visually, awesome. But like if you play like Overwatch or something like that, it's just so basic. Call of Duty, it's just so reliant on kind of individual skill that I just find the multiplayer just not very engaging. Like I prefer team-based kind of shooters. Even Halo, it's team-based. It's not like you can absolutely dominate. Just can do very well.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder. So I was actually impressed by it when I played it, but the problem for me is that I would only ever buy Call of Duty for the single player. And actually, in the past, they have made some really good single player campaigns, and I've heard this one's good. I mean, I know there've been some reviews that have said it's not amazing, but generally, it seems like it's a really good campaign. But I don't know if I want to buy it just for a 6-hour campaign. For me, I don't know if that's good value.
They're super short, aren't they? Typically, like 6 hours has probably been a little generous as well. I think.
Yeah, probably.
You can probably get down shorter than that. I mean, that's probably something that I'll probably play if or when these games do come to Game Pass.
Exactly.
It will be something I'll maybe check out there, because you're not paying, well, it's 70, isn't it? So just for such a short campaign. So.
One thing I did see, in some supermarkets, actually, you can get the base game for about 55 quid if you want. Like, I know it's the disc is just a launcher, but you do save some money buying it on disc. So
so I'm somewhat tempted again, because I've seen the Amsterdam clips, seen a few other clips as well. It looks quite amazing visually. I'd really like to run it on new rig. That would be awesome to see what that looks like with the audio as well. But on the other hand, it's just so much out at the moment. Like it's really far down my list of potential purchases. I don't. Maybe next year, if it comes down in price, I would probably pick it up just to play the campaign. But I'm not going to spend 50-60 quid knowing that I'm only going to play the campaign. I'm not even going to really touch the multiplayer at all.
Yeah. I think that's fair. But obviously, this one is going to stay around a little longer than normal. I think
Yeah,
there
true.
isn't going to be a Call of Duty next year. This one's supposedly going to get some like DLC next year, so it is going to be just going to have a little bit more staying power than others. What I would say though is this is the first Call of Duty for some time. I think that's been released on Steam, and it is doing some pretty damn good numbers
Doing really well
on Steam. I think earlier today I saw it broke 250,000 concurrent, which was significantly higher than the last Call of Duty that was on Steam. I think that's maybe just the power of kind of the name Modern Warfare and how well remembered that is. So it seems to have been a success for Activision to put those games back on Steam at least, and hopefully people are enjoying them. But yeah, maybe not for me. Although, like I say, I probably will check out Warzone 2 when that comes out, mainly because they're doing some kind of interesting things from a battle royale perspective. I do like those games, so yeah, we'll see. So. Wonderful. Well, gents, I think what we can do there is we'll maybe wrap up the show there, unless there's any sort of parting thoughts from anybody.
Chat, play Signalis.
Yeah.
Jump onto that. It's a good game.
Just actually on that sort of bit, it's on. Sorry to break the Call of Duty thing, but like, just checked. It's on mixed reviews on Steam, so it's probably not doing too well with regards to feedback. Whereas Signalis is on overwhelmingly positive on Steam, guys. So yeah, if you didn't know, that's the top rating it can get on Steam. So yeah, play that game, guys.
Lovely. Luke, any final words from yourself?
Pray for my 4090 that it doesn't set fire.
Yeah. Are you going to post pictures on Twitter once the rig's built?
I thought you were going to say you're going to post pictures if it sets on fire. I mean, I will.
Do that as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
please
leave
do
the
catch
fire.
one time.
No, when I have it, when I have it and it's running, I will definitely put some.
Luke, are you an RGB kind of guy?
Yes, I'm not
okay.
over RGB, but everything that I'm trying to think. Yeah, everything that I've bought has RGB elements. So
You've got like the mouse mat and everything, haven't you, on your?
I do.
RGB mouse mat?
I do. Yeah, it's a Razer Goliathus, which is like a huge mouse mat with RGB on the side. But I'm actually going to get rid of this because I'm getting a new desk, and I'm going to get just like a felt kind of similar thing, but no RGB. So yes, and hopefully tomorrow I'll have some new headphones as well, which I'm really excited about. So
all out
that will
for
be
the new rig. It's going to be a
Very
whole
nice.
experience.
I've gone all out for it. So hopefully it doesn't burn. Because that would be a shame. So yeah, just if you're having a prayer, just generally pray for my 4090.
Yes.
Other than
fingers
that,
crossed.
no.
Should be all good.
Fingers crossed.
Look out for those updates on Luke's Twitter. I think I look forward to seeing the rig built, mate. Like I say, I'm really looking forward to seeing your thoughts on the Plague Tale. And in fact, actually, I'm probably not looking forward to them because I know you're going to post some bonker screenshots, and I'm just going to get some serious envy when I see them. So yeah, but Indy, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Now, I doubt there's a single person that listens to this show that doesn't know where to find you, mate. But just on the off chance that anybody has, do you want to tell us where people can find you on the internets?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, firstly, for having me on. All of you guys, like I say, are my besties. I consider you. Excuse the cheesy expression, but really, really great guys you are. So it always means a lot to be able to hang out with you. If you wanted to find my channel and check out some indie goodness, because that's what we focus on over there. It's basically YouTube/The Indie Gamer, all one word. And basically, like I say, it's all focused on indie games. So come over and enjoy some of that goodness. If you want to check me out on Twitter, it's indie_gamer_01. Be awesome to see any of you guys over there if you haven't checked out my channel already. But thank you so much for having me on this awesome channel today. And obviously hit that like button, subscribe guys, because Green Pass Gaming is an awesome place to hang out. But thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, mate. And I believe you've got a podcast coming up next week.
Thank you very much. Terrible at doing these outros. So I got a podcast coming out on Tuesday, actually. So the Indie Games podcast is back for another episode on Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. EST. Actually, is there a funny thing going on with the time zones right now?
Yeah, it's an extra, there's one less hour between them for a week or maybe two.
Okay, so we're looking at 4 p.m. EST instead of 3. Thank you very much. I actually noticed your tweet on that, and that reminded me. So yeah, we're looking at 8 p.m. UK, 4 p.m. EST. The actual the stream is already scheduled on the channel, so if you're confused about what time it's going to be, go over to the channel and you'll see it's the actual time for your local area on there now. But yeah, it'd be awesome to see you over there, and we'll obviously you'll see my good man Luke, who's been on this show today, of course. We'll be hanging out, chatting some indie games, and hope to see you there. Cheers.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for that, Indy and Pux. Luke, thank you both very much for joining. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. As we kind of announced last week, we're going to try to stick to this slot going forward. So if you do want to check out more of our shows, we should hopefully be live every sort of Sunday, 7:30 p.m. UK time. We'll try to stick consistently to that if we can, but we may fall back to maybe a Sunday morning or Thursday evening show if we have any sort of scheduling issues. So, but thank you all very much for joining. Appreciate you all stopping by. I think that's stream number 2 on OBS that's gone by without too many technical hitches.
Yeah, good work.
Got some video as well, and it feels like it's gone really well.
It's gone all right,
yeah,
hasn't it? So
sweet, buddy, sweet.
Please let us know what you guys think. Please leave a comment and the usual like, share, subscribe, all that malarkey. That would be lovely. So, but otherwise, thank you all for joining, everyone. We'll see you all on the next one.